it's been a year almost. We passed the 100K USD in 1 year, the first year. So
from templates,
man, you believe it. There's no way I'm learning WordPress. And I just left the institute and I got all into Webflow, man.
You absolutely killed me when you just said that you left school because they were going to make you learn WordPress. That should be a marketing piece for Webflow. That is the most hilarious thing. This is a path that is entirely based on your education, and yet they don't care about the degree that you have. I've never once in my entire career been asked, where did you go to school? Nothing. It's interesting to look at, us. We're the people who came in and, let's say, replaced the traditional engineers by using Webflow, by using Wist. And now it's looking like the same thing is happening to us, but we adapt, So what's your take on all of that? Like, our web developers, we're all cooked, we're all done, we're all gone in a couple of years, or, no.
Man, that's such a cool reference, man. The same thing is, I don't think that's happening, but we definitely want to still be experts. People will pay you money because of your expertise, and you have agencies like I will talk about this scenario. The Osmo Supply owners. I don't know if you've heard about them, but they are really into the GSAP animations, and they build beautiful sites. I don't think they will ever stop getting leads out of those, out of those clients. Like, they love the websites that they build, not because the tech stack they use, but the quality of how they build them. I don't think even if you use Cloud Code, you can achieve that level of animations. So I'll say people will still look for experts, SEO experts that can validate what the AI is building. I think, just as you said it, man, I think things are changing. We cannot admit that, we cannot stick with the tools that we have only and just stay there. Oh, my camera just died. I'm sorry, man.
That is all good. All good.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now, man.
Yes. Everyone always laughs at me because I literally make videos for a living, and they're like, oh, what's your setup? I'm like, MacBook. Yeah, what's your camera? MacBook. Mike, MacBook. That's why. Technical issue. We are back. Where were we? We were talking about...
I was just talking about, I think, my take on, what's going to happen with... Because you said it, with what is, the same thing that happened to traditional engineers that were building front-end with HTML and CSS. We kind of came in with all of these, local tools or visual tools like Webflow, Wix, Squarespace, and many others. Feels like the same thing is happening to us, which I think it makes kind of sense. More people that are not technical are able to build their own websites now. So maybe, I guess people who don't really need complex things will be more than happy with what they can achieve with Cloud Code. As you said, there's a technical details there. You need to install Node.js. You need to probably install an IDE. You need to have certain technical skills there. It's not like you do it from scratch. Now, everyone can do it. Either way, there's a learning curve, as you said it. Not everyone can have all the time of the world to do what we do. We live out of websites, web apps that we build, out of products, digital products. So this is our niche, that's why we invest so much time learning these tools or this new technology. And as you said it, I don't think people, as I said it before, experts, people will still be looking for experts. People will still be looking for experts on SEO, experts on cool animations with GSAPs, experts on web applications. So as long as you keep learning, as long as you are open to keep learning new tools, new ways to build, I think nothing should happen to you. Like, as you said it, you can keep making business out of Webflow. Like, we are still selling Webflow templates. Like, people is still buying Webflow templates out of the marketplace. People is still buying our all access templates out of templates. I don't think this will change tomorrow. Maybe in, I don't know, maybe in 5 years, 6 years, you will see some, things might change, radically. As long as I know right now, Clouded has made millions in a few days. Like, they are making millions in a few days. Like, that's what I feel is happening somehow. That's a fact. That people cannot change that. But yeah,
there's so much. And again, like, I am guilty of doing this myself and being like, whoa, look at this new stuff, try this new stuff. But like, for anyone who's still thinking like, oh, I should be worried about my career as a Webflow developer, I don't even think about writing. So there was a time back in the day where like nobody could write. Like you had to go like trek to some school to like learn how to write. And there was like 3 people in the village that knew how to write. And those people were like, you know, gods among men. They were the only people who can write. And then eventually everyone started to know how to write. And we live in a time where, you know, most people can write. We can think about something and we know how to write it down on paper, type it, whatever it may be. You know how many people are writers and get paid to be writers? And no, I don't just mean like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. Like you got copywriters, you got like ghost writers, you got songwriters, you got authors, you have all these different sorts of things. They do not possess a capability. That's the difference. So when it comes to developers, you know, developers learned a skill, only they can do it. If you wanted a website, you wanted a web app, developers going to have to do it because there's no other way to get that done. That's changing, and it's changing slowly. Again, like we said with Wix and Squarespace, now we have AI, it's getting easier. But take a look at, like I said, writing, something which was similar to engineering back in the day, only few could do it. And now it is literally something that, you know, at least in the semi-developed world, almost everybody is capable of doing. And yet people are still getting paid to be writers. So that's something that I really think there's a lack of conversation about in our space, in the development space. People are either all in on like, no, AI, it's a fad. Like, you know, they call anything made by AI slop, and, you know, that genre of people. And then at the same time, you have the people who are like, dude, like we're all done. All of our jobs are going to get taken. The truth, and I think this when it comes to politics, I think this when it comes to everything in the world, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And the truth is, just like writing, the professionals are not going anywhere because, look, I can write. I'm a good writer, actually, I think. I wouldn't call myself a writer. And if I need something written well, I'm going to hire an actual writer because that person does it for a living. They stare at those words. They, you know, discern good from bad, right from wrong, you know, clear from unclear. And that's just their focus. That's what they're good at. And I can do it, you know, in the same way. My wife can use Claude Code. My wife can build a web app with Claude Code. I showed her how. You know, it's not hard. But at the same time, it's not the same thing. Whatever you dedicate your energy to. And so I think we're approaching a time where we're really just as human beings going to be able to, instead of sitting there and having to learn things like syntax and all of this stuff that we learn it because we have to, we're going to be able to simply focus on what we want to. I don't quite understand. So actually, let me ask you, what's your background? Like, anyone who's involved in the general Webflow space, I always say this, has a cool background. Like, give me a little like origin story. What brought you into this like ecosystem?
Oh my God. Like when I was 18 years old, it's a little weird. I started working with wood and I fell in love with building. I realized that I love building things and I always had a business mind. Like either way, I knew that I didn't want to follow that straightforward path of, you know, getting a job, getting paid, which I did, you know. Like I started working pretty young, like from 16 years old. But this is the thing, you know, I studied 1 semester in an institute here in Peru. They taught me the basics of HTML, CSS, and SQL, and I fell in love with it. The second semester, I knew they were going to teach me WordPress. Man, I already started, you know, at that time, the videos of Flux Academy about comparing, you know, Webflow versus WordPress were already published. So I had seen many of those videos, and I said, like, there's no way I'm learning WordPress. And I just left the institute and I got all into Webflow, man, all into the YouTube. Like, I don't know if you have seen the videos of Web Dev for You, but those were the OG animation videos. And I started building them like a few websites locally here while I was still working for a company here in Oxapampa in the middle of the jungle in Peru. And then I published my portfolio on Facebook. I got called by an agency from Miami. Cool thing is I had the English. I you know, luckily I was able to speak, you know, some at some point, you know, like decent English. Obviously, I think my English has gotten way better than at that time. But whatever, you know, I got this work working for this agency. Then I kept learning. I won in a race. They didn't give me the race. So I just while I was doing that, I got another job in another agency from Canada. I worked with them. Like we grew from 2 3 people to 20 people super quick. I was working too much at that time. I was working too much, but it kind of made me an expert on that scenario. I left. I created my own agency with my business partner Aldair, who also has a really cool background. And then it's been 2 years now, and yeah, this is where we at. Yeah, with an agency, of 15, an agency of 15 people, like a couple of digital products. We're getting into the Shopify niche as well. But yeah, that's where we at right now. Yeah.
That is awesome. And that is the most, okay. So I used WordPress like a long time ago, just because I was the guy who client needed something. I'm like, what do you want to use? And they're like, I don't know, WordPress, that's popular, right? So I used WordPress, hated it. And then actually last year, I kind of started using WordPress again with Bricks Builder. And honestly, I'm not a WordPress hater. I am not a WordPress hater. It is, you absolutely killed me when you just said that you left school because they were going to make you learn WordPress. That should be a marketing piece for Webflow. That is the most hilarious thing. But no, 100%. Like, here's the thing, you need to be educated. But this is a path that you can follow. And I don't know if there's anyone perhaps watching this who is new to this industry, but this is a path that is entirely based on your education, and yet they don't care about the degree that you have. I've never once in my entire career been asked, where did you go to school? Nothing. Nobody cares. You literally, your output is what shows it. And I think that is awesome. So you've built an agency, but along with that, and I didn't even know that until I see your name here in this call where it says templates.com, templates. How'd that come about? Templates pre-agency or post-agency?
Post-agency. So,
Okay.
when I partner with with Aldair, he's an amazing designer, and I knew we had to sell that quality of design through somewhere. And I knew, the fact that you can position yourself from marketplaces who have millions of people going day by day. I think it's important. We don't need to market ourselves. We do it now, but we didn't at that time when we got started with it. We had so many people say, don't do it. Things are not going great. We met so many people that had like 10, 11 templates in the marketplace that they were not making any sales. But the thing is, there are successful people everywhere. You have successful agencies, you have agencies that close, whatever. You have successful and wrong businesses everywhere, So, yeah, man, we got started with it as we had so many talented designers in the team. Like it was Aldair only, and then we hired another designer. But we decided like we need to list 3 or 4 templates per month, and then yeah, man, it's been a year almost. We passed the 100K USD in 1 year, the first year. So hopefully we can duplicate or from templates, man. You believe it. So it's our secondary business, but things are going great. The idea is to grow that or duplicate that this year, or maybe more. We something that I haven't done last year is create as much content as I would like to. Now this is my focus. I have finally separated myself from the day-to-day task of the agency. I don't even do the project management. I sometimes do the client relationships. Obviously I'm always taking care of the clients, but apart from that, I'm finally focused on something else that is not from the day-to-day task, from the agency. Just like something similar that you do, right? I guess for MemberStack, right? So yeah, man, that's where we at right now. Yeah.
It's such a difficult thing to do. So I don't know if you know, but I also started an agency. And first things first, you said you worked for an agency in Canada. What were they called?
Blackpeak.
Yeah, I know them. They're in like British Columbia, I think. Okay, I've heard.
They closed.
That's the other like whiz focus agency that I've heard about. But yeah, so I started an agency. You may know about them. It's called Veza Digital.
Maybe I have.
I ended up leaving after like 3 years. I co-founded that. Agency's still around. I don't know how well they're doing, but they're still around. And that right there, I imagine, based on the fact that anyone watching this is involved in Webflow, there's a lot of agency owners, prospective agency owners, whatever that may be. When you're starting an agency, you're thinking like business, I'm the boss, and then you start doing it. And obviously at the start, you're doing client work. And then the agency starts to grow and grow and grow. And you'd think it's as easy as like, oh, I'm going to hire someone and they're going to handle the client work and I'm going to focus on the business. Whenever someone says like I managed to transition myself from working on like in the business to on the business, I am immediately very respecting of that because I know how hard it was. I was managing all of the client stuff and we ended up getting this one client. It was like, we did a lot of white label. So like our agency worked behind other agencies for their clients, right? So we got this one agency partner and they were like working me to the literal bone, man. Like me specifically, I don't know why. They just wanted me to do everything. They had me doing Google ads, me, Google ads, websites, design, like automations, client communications, everything. So I was working like literally 50, 60 hours a week for this one individual client plus any other stuff. And before that, it was a blessing. It was horrible and I hated it. And I literally told that client to go kick rocks and block them from our Slack because I was so mad at them. But it was a blessing because leading up to this, I was always wanting to transition to working on the business and focused on growing the business and our operations rather than doing the client work. But it was too hard to let go. I was scared. You know, nobody can do it like I can do it kind of thing. Not true at all. But what happened was this client who was just working me ragged, I didn't have time to work on anything else. So I found this kid on Upwork. He was the same age as me. I'm very young. And I'm like, dude, here's the clients, work on him. Gave him no instructions and he killed it. And that was like the transition point where I was finally able to focus on building a business, not working for clients.